And if you do get incarcerated again, the way the system is set up is you're going away for a long time. You know, you kind of, there's this criminal history concept. And the point system I mentioned, it kind of 2X's if you go again for a second time. And if you go for a third time, they call you a career criminal. And, you know, again, by Trump standards, he's literally a career criminal at this point. You know, it's a really insane kind of concept, but it is the way the system works.
How is Trump seen in prison?
I think he'd be liked if he went. One of my top defense attorneys thinks he's going. I think he will be remanded. In other words, have his bail revoked. I think that he's liked in prison quite a bit. A lot of folks in prison, for example, especially the old timers who've been there forever, he passed something called the First Step Act, which I think is a brilliant piece of legislation. And it was mostly, I think, shepherded by Kushners who pushed it very hard because their father went to prison. And what the First Step Act does is it basically lets you lessen your sentence if you go through this rehabilitative process. And I did some of those programs, and I have to say that, you know, they actually are useful. They kind of help reorient your goals and meaning in life. And they really make you confront, like, well, why am I trying to just grow this stack of money to the ceiling when, what about my kids? What about, you know, what do I really makes me happy? And this program is fantastic, and it could cut your sentence by a third. And guess who didn't want this to happen? Virtually everyone in Congress. He said, you know, this is a bad idea. And he got it passed by the skin of his teeth.
So when people talk politics, like what percent, I'm just interested, of the guys you served with, where were they on the spectrum? Like Trump,
mostly right. And I think they were
mostly right?
Yeah, they were mostly apolitical before Trump showed up. And I think you'd hear some jokes like, well, Trump's a lot like me. You know, he's a gangster and he does what he wants, says what he wants, and that's what I do. And, you know, that's like an unhealthy kind of attitude, obviously. But a lot of guys sort of said, that's my role model. You know, he does what he wants, says what he doesn't care about the rules. He throws caution to the wind. He's that guy that I respect. That's what I am in my dilapidated neighborhood. So, you know, he's that for America. And that's, you know, again, I don't agree with that. I think that's awful. But I also think that they saw what the average American, I think, sees, which is a guy that obviously is an outsider of politics, at least. You know, I would say that he tells it like it is, but we know that he doesn't always tell it like it is.
Yeah.
He does lie sometimes. But I think that he's, you know, more or less loved in prison because of that mix of, like, he's got this, like, almost criminality to him where he flouts the law. And according to the DOJ, he's flouted the law. But to a lot of people, they interpret that as, that's not criminality. That's just a guy that has conviction, that does what he wants, and kind of lets the aftermath kind of...
He's brave.
Yeah. And I think that's what is appreciated, that he's also not a double talker that kind of will spin you. You know, he wears his incoherence on his sleeve. Yeah. You know, that he's just sort of like, you know, direct, and, you know, he'll fib and he'll do things like that, but you kind of know what you're going to get from him. He's kind of consistent. And I think that people like that. Obama, remember, a good chunk of the prison population is black, somewhere between a third and a half. When asked guys about this, they said, Obama didn't do anything for us. You know, this is supposed to be our black president. And, you know, we're overrepresented in this community by...
They got nothing in common with Obama.
No.
No.